I'm back, sort of. You can probably hear from my voice that this is why there's not been videos for the last few days. I completely lost my voice. Realistically, I'm not back until Monday, so don't expect videos over the weekend. But we are going to sneak out a Sevilla video today because why not? Got to test the voice a little bit. Hello and welcome to Club 6, part 31 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we go back to Hamburg for the first time since we left, or is it, in fact, the first time since pre-season when we beat them? Although that was at home, to be fair. So we are going back to Germany, to our old stomping ground in the Champions League, and then we've also got a Liga game against Levante. Since you were last with me, there's just been the one match. It seems like ages, but it's just been one match, a 0-0 draw against bottom of the table Numancia. So yeah, we're still in the middle of a bit of an injury crisis. If we go to, where's the medical centre gone? There. If we have a look at our medical centre, Garcia, Korkmaz, Gravosti, Gould, all injured. Perez, Benko, Ryback, all just returning from injury, and a lot of players on a high injury risk as well. So we are struggling a little bit just with fitness, injury issues, which means we're not really able to put out a strong team at the moment. This is the strongest team I can put out for the Hamburg game, and really, I'm not particularly happy with it. Gravosti probably shouldn't be playing. Ryback is being rushed back very soon. Ruiz isn't really match fit. We've got Perez and Benko on the bench who aren't really fit. Moreno's not match fit. It's a problem. But hopefully we have enough about us to find a way past Hamburg, who I'm hoping will play Noah Okafor just for the nostalgia. He is still there, but hasn't been playing regularly for a season or two now. So our team to go back to Hamburg, and of course it's a return to Hamburg for Zielinski as well, who joined us from them last summer. We've got Zielinski in goal, a back four of Ryback, Silva, Annan and Gravosti, with Ramos and Atz in midfield, Ruiz, Amador and Lorenzo in behind Abraham as our only fit striker. Let's get into the game. Atz is captain for the game. There has been one piece of transfer news since the last episode as well. Presedo has gone out on loan for the season to Real Sociedad. No sign of Okafor or any of our old. Toma was ours, I think. But I think he's the only one who survived. Is Okafor on the bench? No. What was the point of this then? What a load of nonsense. But yeah, Presedo has gone out on loan to Real Sociedad for the season because of foreign player registration issues. Atz was supposed to get his Spanish nationality like mid-August, and it just kept showing waiting for paperwork. So we couldn't register Presedo. He went out on loan, and of course, the very next day, Atz got his Spanish citizenship or nationality or whatever it's called. So we now only have 2 foreign players registered in our squad again, because Atz now classes as Spanish, but Presedo has gone out on loan for the season. So we're a midfielder short, but we're a goal to the good, and it's Ruiz with his first goal of the season. We know he's always dangerous from this left-hand side. And, knocking around in Hamburg again, it's only right to see goals coming from an inside forward from that left-hand side. We saw so very many of them when we were here before with Okafor scoring goals from that exact position. So 1-0 to us. Juventus look like they've gone ahead in their game against Galatasaray as well. Or, in fact, it doesn't look like they're playing at the moment. Maybe they were the early game and they've already beaten Galatasaray. But it's Amador back to Ramos. Ramos in a shooting position, and it squeezes through. I thought that took a big deflection on the way, but it looks like it's actually kind of wriggled through, avoided everybody, and it's gone down as a goal for Ramos. Let's have a look at it again. So Amador played it back to Ramos, who, they've just stepped off him, and it is exactly that. He's threaded it through the eye of the needle, through 3 players who you'd have expected all 3 of them to get a little something on it. None of them did, and we go 2-0 up. And it's all looking a little bit easy. I was a bit surprised to see Hamburg back in the Champions League because they hadn't been anywhere near since we left. But obviously they've had a bit of a decent season last year, made their way back into the big time, but then some monster came and stole their star man, best player, goalkeeper. And it's all downhill from there, clearly, although they've just got a goal back against said star man, best player, goalkeeper. So perhaps we don't want to be counting our chickens before they're hatched. Is that the phrase? I haven't really spoken for 3 days at this point. What is it? Friday morning I'm recording this. I think I went to bed about 7 o'clock Tuesday and kind of haven't really left the bed since and haven't really said anything. I did go out and watch the Avengers movie. I'm not a monster. But I didn't speak while I was there, obviously, because I'm not a monster. So I'm a little bit not used. I mean, I've not been able to speak, but it's weird. My mouth isn't yet used to forming words again. So expect even more nonsense than usual from me in this video, as Zielinski does manage to hold on to the attempt from Hamburg this time, and fingers crossed we can hold on until half-time. I want to have a look at Jesus Perez in the second half, our young striker, another wonder kid striker we brought in the summer, who we haven't really been able to see anything of yet because he's been injured. Right, let's guard against complacency, usual stuff, and hopefully go on and grab a couple more goals in the second half. It's actually been a much more even game than my confident speech would suggest. It's been pretty much even on every stat. In fact, they've had more shots on target than we have, so you could argue they've maybe had slightly better of the game so far, and we've just been a little bit more clinical in front of goal. Abraham not playing very well at all makes it very easy for me to make that change and bring Perez on. So that's one change we want to make for sure. We're also going to take off Atz and bring on O'Neill, switch those two around. That will do for now. I'd quite like to have a look at Benko as well, but I don't know how close to fit he is. He's another one of the new players we brought in and haven't been able to see play yet because he came in and got injured immediately. But we spent a lot of money on him. I'm expecting big things from him. So let's get Benko on as well. He can come on for Lorenzo. Amador can go out onto the right-hand side. Gould should be fit again soon as well, so he's very close to being back in the team. We should be back to a decent strength side fairly soon, but these last couple of matches haven't been particularly inspiring. The Numancia game that you didn't see, and this is not the performance I was expecting us to put in against Hamburg. I was expecting us to be a lot better than this. Let's show some passion. Let's have 5 minutes of passion to finish things off, and hopefully grab a third goal. Although we're top of a group that's got Juventus in, so we can't argue too much. This is one of the harder games away against Hamburg. You'd expect us to beat Galatasaray home and away. So, you know, this is a good early indicator that we should be fairly comfortable getting through our group again, which you would hope we would be based on this group compared to some of the previous groups we've had. Ruiz can't get his crossover. Perez was involved in the link up there. I didn't see anything of Benko though. And last chance for Perez to impress, but he's not got the fitness. He's not got the fitness or the pace to make anything of that chance. And it's going to be Hamburg who finish things off. They finished with a 4-3-3 as well. There we go. But we have beaten them. Marvellous stuff. A good win, boys. Not much more to say other than that. And now we go and play Levante, who, just like Numancia in the last match, we're at home and they're bottom of the league. Hopefully we do a little bit better than we did in the pitiful 0-0 that you had the pleasure of missing. Right, no changes for the Levante game, mainly because we don't have much in the way of fit players to make changes with. So, again, it's just a case of waiting for players to get fit. That's what it's all about at the moment. We're still having to slum it with Lorenzo out on the right wing, which is far from ideal. Right, let's try and be assertive and say, look, we really should be winning this game. We've had a couple of iffy back-to-back performances now. We're supposed to be the best team in Spain. Let's show it once again against a team that... is this the same team we beat 8-0 on the first day of the season in the Super Coppa or whatever it is? I think it's called that, isn't it? Is that what it's called? Was that Levante? The team we signed Abraham and Alvaro from a few years back. Ruiz has just grabbed another goal. A player who, by all definitions, certainly that I use, shouldn't be good enough to be anywhere near our team, but just has stuck around for the 4 years or so that we've been here at Sevilla and still scores goals regularly. I don't know what more that man has to do to be considered a regular part of the squad. The only thing he could possibly do is bribe somebody to give him an extra 2 stars on his rating. Doesn't matter what he does on the pitch. I need star ratings from him. Now, we know that's not quite true, but we also know there is some truth to that. If he's not going to have the star rating, I'm never going to take him that seriously, because my assistant manager, who isn't very good at judging player ability, doesn't. I know what I mean. You know what I mean. I said I wasn't good at words again yet. Maybe I never was. Amador plays it out to right back. Let's grab a second goal here. Lorenzo's there, scores, and it's 2-0 with less than 20 minutes on the clock. And this is what we needed. We needed a game where we could get back to winning ways, get back to scoring goals again. And obviously it is a team that we've scored quite a few goals against already this season. We're now into double figures for goals we've scored against Levante in the first month of this season, which, I mean, they must hate playing us. Abraham hasn't even started yet today. He got 5 against them in the Super Cup. So that, I mean, you would expect him to want a few more to keep that run going. Ramos now bursting through, grabs the third. Sevilla 3, Levante 0. Levante, remember, that year we signed Abraham and Alvaro from them just a couple of seasons ago. They were the team pushing us for a Champions League spot. I think that season we finished 4th, they finished 5th. They were a good side. We did rip the heart and soul out of it in the shape of Abraham and Alvaro, but they have had a fall from grace. Currently sat bottom of the table, 0 points from the first 4 games. Terrible goal difference that's only getting worse after us battering them again. And obviously, I guess they must have won the Spanish Cup last year as well, but because that's how they got in the Super Cup. But it's, I guess someone else has ripped the heart and soul out of them again. Every time they have a good season, someone steals their good players. I guess that's the issue with being a team like Levante, who have got a very good track record, at least in this universe, of picking up players very cheap. Abraham and Alvaro, both examples of that. They picked up very, very cheap, sold on for good money relatively quickly. So they don't keep their players for long, but they do get the best out of them. But maybe they don't have anyone at the moment to get the best out of. Maybe the manager who's doing that has moved on. Words, Kev, for goodness sake. Right, I would like a 4th goal. So, in fact, this seems like a good opportunity to bring Perez on. I know we're looking for Abraham goals because he did so many against them last time. What a tackle from Ramos. Ball over the top, looking for Abraham to chase, but he doesn't really feel like it today, it seems. So I think we are going to bring Perez on sooner rather than later. Ramos, who's had a cracking game, to Ruiz. Ruiz beats his man. Cross comes over to Abraham. There is his goal. 7th of the season. 6 of them have come against Levante. Oh, dearie me. Poor old Levante. I bet they're wishing they'd turned down the 13 million we paid for him and just kept him, just to avoid how this season has gone so far. But that is the cue to bring Perez on, I think. We don't need to make too many other changes, but I want to give Perez half an hour against a team that just can't defend, and let's see if our latest wonder kid striker can be as good as our previous wonder kid striker, who of course is still injured and we haven't seen him yet this season. Ats can come off as well for O'Neill. I'm not actually going to swap them over like I did in the last game because Ramos is having such a good game playing as the more defensive of the midfield too. I don't really want to swap them over. We've not had a good game out of O'Neill for years. So let's play to our strengths and play the better of the two in his best position, or the position where we're getting the best performance out of him. Amador for Benko seems like another sensible change. Are they the 3 changes we made in the last game? I think they probably are, but they're certainly Benko and Perez are players that we want to see a little bit of. We want to see if they're any good. And Ats hasn't really been Ats yet this season. Perhaps he's not enjoying being Spanish. Who knows? Or perhaps it's the extra weight of being captain more regularly this season that's getting to him. Ramos playing it into O'Neill. O'Neill shoots from range and it goes wide. We have absolutely destroyed poor old Levante today. Look at the state of those stats. It's worlds apart from where we were in the Hamburg game, and does leave us at the end of the episode back atop La Liga, where, you know, you could argue we belong. It's where we ended last season. It's where we started this season. Long may it continue. It was a good win today, and I probably need to wrap things up before I completely lose the ability to talk, as my nose gets more and more blocked the longer I talk. This is a weird symptom that I've not experienced before. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there won't be videos over the weekend. I just don't have time to make them. I normally do them earlier in the week. I don't want to have to do them over the course of the weekend when I'm supposed to be doing family bits and pieces. So we'll be back on Monday with the normal schedule. Non-League to Legend at 4, home at 7. Assuming this isn't still going on then, and we'll probably come back with Juventus. Juventus feels like a good game to be back for. Let's start making some progress on this season again. yeah, Juventus. Feels like it will be fun. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager, daily-ish Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.